what we see coming, over the next decade or. All right, so two very clear trends that have been happening over the past 10, 15 years, and I think we can all resonate with this. One is broadband, right? There's the big push to get higher and higher data rates and more penetration throughout the U.S. and globally. And the other one is mobility, right? Today we have 280 million cell phones out there. That's 90% of the U.S. population. That assumes every baby, child, everything. So it's pretty intense, big push around cell phone growth and also broadband, right? There's a lot of statistics out there. Some of there's actually even a big push now with the economy to get broadband even further. And what they're really talking about is to get that 65% up into the 70s and 80s, right? To do more rural broadband penetration even. So the other thing I'll just point out, I threw these pictures up here on the side here. These are cell phone towers, right? So as we get more and more cell phones out there, one of the challenges becomes how do you provide coverage? And nobody wants these ugly cell phone towers in their neighborhoods. So there's unique ways of hiding cell phone towers. So I just threw that up there as some of the things that we're trying to do to get the technology in everybody's hands, but do it in a non-ugly way. All right, so some trends. So those are the high level, broadband and mobility. Let's go down one step further. So the thing that's really amazing is if you look at the current generation, and by that I mean the kids that are in high school, college, or have recently graduated. You take that segment of society, and they essentially were born with computers and the internet. Right, it's a very different model than what we've grown up with, and the kind of the characteristics of this generation is that they're basically used to being always on, always connected, social networks, posting or blogging every little thing that they're doing throughout the day, and one of the things that we anticipated that actually isn't happening, we anticipated that kids as they get out of college, go into the workforce, start a family, that a lot of that would start tapering off. And it does taper off, but nowhere near as dramatically as we expected, right? In fact, what's happening is more of the rest of us are getting pulled into that notion of joining Facebook and other social networks and posting our own information up. So it's actually, it's really moving in a direction where it just continues to grow. I think all of us have probably at one time or another done text messaging, instant messaging, email, file sharing, touched on some of the social networking. It's interesting the dynamics of all of this activity. I mean, it really becomes more of a fashion statement almost. What device you have. Part of your identity is how well are you connected with others, how many connections you have on your Facebook page or your whatever blog. I meant to get some updated data because it's actually pretty old now. 26 million Facebook users. There's 90% growth in 2007. They actually more than doubled that in 2008. Right? So Facebook, as an example of a social networking website, is just growing by leaps and bounds. Banking transactions, I threw that in to say, okay, let's get away maybe from the social stuff, but let's talk about real business. As recently as a couple of years ago, none of us did online banking. In 2008, there's 8 million people doing it. That's only going to grow more and more as all of us get broadband connectivity and we get more and more, feel more and more secure doing online banking. So the whole notion of that internet access and being connected is just going to continue to pervade all of what we do. And then I threw in this last bullet. Namely, there's as all of us have seen in the press and even around our own towns, the whole notion of being socially responsible, being green. You'll see that happening, a lot of the trends that we see here actually tie into that fairly well because there's a lot more things people can do remotely, electronic media versus paper. I'm not going to touch too much on the actual equipment that we use to drive all this, but, it's actually getting much, much smaller, a lot less power utilized. I mean, so there's a lot of things that as technology grows that, fortunately, we're not creating a big environmental